What's going on, Greg? Greg said it. It's a hot one. Got this fleece on. Weather don't know want to be hot or cold, but that's the way it is. It's that time of year. The weather trying to figure it out. And so are people, y'all. This portal is open. And, you know, I heard some hint clues of some favorite players leaving. And we've been seeing a lot of writing on the wall. We done had a couple of guys leave. And it was like, going to be playing. And, you know, it wasn't a big shock. It's like, give or take. Content creators were saying some of your favorite guys are leaving. I pretty much knew what it was. When we just got word today, not long ago, Cormani McClain will be leaving. And it just was a lot of weirdness going on around the situation as far as he wasn't out there, was he out there? A lot of rumor he going to be leaving. And the whole typical, I'm not leaving. I don't know why people do that these days. I don't know what that be. The politicians do it, the celebrities do it. And they always say something right before they actually do what everybody said they're going to do. They say, oh, they're going to get divorced. And we're not getting divorced. And a week later, they're getting divorced. Or a day later, it's like, I guess people don't want people to break their news. I don't know, but it's weird. And it's definitely weird to see the kids doing it too. Because we often see that when kids hit the portal, they be telling somebody right before they hit that portal that they're not leaving. And then they're either, you know, come to our school, or in this case, we got somebody leaving. So I don't know what Cormani is leaving, but it's interesting. You know, they don't have a rough patch throughout last year with some different things, some expectations, some pressures and all of that. And I don't know. I can say a lot of things. I sure could, but I don't know. And it don't make a whole lot of sense, but it do. Because, I mean, if he's not the man this year, he definitely could easily be the man next year. Even though they're bringing in a bunch of new guys who can rival him. They're bringing in a lot of cornerbacks. They're bringing in some young cornerbacks. They're bringing in cornerbacks of a certain make, a certain type. A lot of these guys are coming in, and they are, you know, 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2" plus guys. And that's the prototype of what they're bringing in, like we seen with McKinney. So you got a lot of guys that have come and still coming that, I don't know, McClain had a lot of hype and a lot of power behind his name with those 5 stars and being the top cornerback, but it just didn't pan out far as production for him. And he did get opportunity. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know we would ever fully know. Some people claim they know, but it's not really that important. We know that he's hit that portal. So that just tells you a lot about how this thing is going to go. It's going to be definitely people going in. Some may not expect, and some people coming in who's going to be what people say just as good. So you got to make room. And on that note, I've heard some things. I know when I came into being a content creator, I didn't have a vision as far as what it would look like. I didn't know how long it would take. You know, I learned stuff as I went, like the rules and the next milestones, how to be monetized. And thanks to you all, I did it in record time according to for what I expected, just within a little month. But I really didn't come in with any ambition beyond just being a voice. And you got to always remember your why and what you do, because people would try to define your why. And this is not nothing specific, but I'm the kind of person, if anybody know about Greg said it, the channel itself, and just me as a person, I see things before it's coming. I see the spirit and the nature of things. Because believe it or not, I'm way more than football. It's a lot more about me that most people probably would never know, especially on this platform. But you kind of see hints of it. We do a lot of inspiration, motivation, and things like that. And I would say that this is kind of in that lane. And it's more raw because that's who I am. You know, one of my original mottos was, I speak the truth, nothing but the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And I'm that kind of person about everything I do, not just football. I stand with Colorado and Coach Prime because I don't believe in unfairness. It's not about black and all that stuff. I don't lean. This life is way bigger than that. I'm not on that level. It's above that level. It's bigger than that. And I can see what's important, and I can see the significance of a thing and what's not significant. And Colorado is significant because what they're doing is groundbreaking. What Coach Prime is doing, has always done, is groundbreaking. So when I see a certain tone, a certain spirit coming, anything associated with him, I have to point it out. I came in as a voice because That's what Coach Prime is, and that's where I connect with him as a person. He's a trendsetter. He's a groundbreaker. He's a disruptor. And everything about why people say he's hated on is because he's a disruptor. Whether you want to call it race, it's a disruptor as far as opportunity. Whether you call it just creativity and ideas, he's a disruptor. How he do things, he's a disruptor. And him being a disruptor, he's not afraid to point out the flaws in the system. He's not afraid to point out the errors and the mistakes. And he's not doing it from a malice place. He's doing it from a place of concern and genuineness. He's a genuine person. And that's why I like him. I don't like him because he's perfect. I don't like him because him as a coach. I don't necessarily know him. And I'm not trying to be on a little list to be sent up on him either. That's not why I got into this. But I do say that if you really who you say you are, especially as a content creator, and even people who follow him, you attract to this movement, hopefully, especially through the thick and thin, not just when they're winning and you disappear, but if you've really been supporting him. For somebody like me to build a channel and put my time, my extra time into doing videos, editing videos, it has to be more, it has to be a connection with me. I can't speak for everybody else. I'm not a football head like that, and I played it just as much as everybody else and just as good. But what I'm saying is it has to be more. I always say it's more than football. So when you go to the point where, I'm just gonna be like this. I've heard a lot of conversations since I've been this about how certain people should go about being a fan of Colorado. I don't even like that word. And I'm seeing a divisiveness. And the divisiveness is not a hater, and it's not even them losing. It's a unnatural, restricting mindset. That's not even the mindset of Coach Prime. He lets his coaches coach. He let his players play. He has a barrier. He has a standard, but he don't try to dictate how people should do what they should do. He want them to be themselves. He always say, be you. If you don't believe in God, be you. But I'm seeing this mindset upon people who say they're going to represent him, follow him, to want to dictate what can and be said and not be said, and how people should express themselves in regards to how they feel about Colorado. I don't think he would agree with that. And I see stuff coming, and I see a vision. I want to point it out as one of the content creators who a lot of you all follow, and we all follow other people, that we be careful of the type of people who are going to come in and create division based off of labeling or limiting what people can and can't do based off of their own opinion. If they're going to decide what you can and can't say. I don't even like when people who watch my video tell me what I can and can't say. I always say, well, go get your own channel. Or go, thanks for your input, because nobody don't have to agree. I don't agree with every video, but I'm not trying to dictate what they say. It's other content creators, I don't agree with them, but I'm not trying to run a coup. I'm not trying to challenge them or trying to limit them to a fault. I'm not trying to label them. I don't have time for that. If it's not personal, it's not personal. But when you started getting to the tone of, you're not a true fan if you point this out. You're not a true fan if you say something negative about a player or a coach or a Colorado. And that's very passive aggressive and weak, because first of all, it's almost like a person has to pull a person to a certain level to be able to handle them, to deal with them. It's very controlling, because that's what you like and dislike, and you have a right to, but you don't have the right to set the standard for everybody else. Because people express themselves differently. Some people are passive, like the people who are trying to be passive aggressive. Some people are more direct. Some people are vocal. Some people are not. But that doesn't mean that everybody doesn't feel or think the same thing. But some people will get to the point where they will say, hey, I believe that, but I wouldn't say that. But that's what you would do. So it's like, one of the special things about the community in Colorado, very much like Coach Prime, is it's free-spirited. People can say what they believe, just like he does. Coach Prime has gotten into a lot of trouble for saying things about a system that a lot of people felt he shouldn't say. And he shouldn't have said it that way. He shouldn't have called out his lineman in the press conference. He shouldn't have made that comment. He looks arrogant. He looks this. He looks that. He's a showboat. And people say, oh, he's misunderstood. The people like us support him, unless we're not being real with ourselves. So how do we, in the spirit of that, try to build a following that's contrary to the spirit that he operates in? I don't think that's a good thing. And we seeing, honestly, new creators, maybe they got new level of influence or whatever. They feel like they're going to come and kumbaya everything. Because, yeah, unity needs to take place. But in whose way? Like, is it only your way of doing it? And I'm the one who always been saying it for months, that we all need to come together, because this season is gonna need everybody. It's gonna need the fans. When it's injustice, we need to point it out. When it's cheating, we need to point it out. I just said that this week. I say that very often, but I'm never the one who's gonna say how everybody should do it and try to put everybody in a bubble, because everybody already clearly has a different way of doing it, different skills, different angles. And that's good enough. But at the end of the day, the difference between somebody pointing something out who's a hater and somebody who's pointing something out who's genuine and who's on your side is the intent behind it. Life is about the intent. If a hater's doing it, he's doing it to shame you and embarrass you if he points something out, because he really wants to get under your skin. He wants to shame you. He wants to hurt your feelings. Somebody who's for you pointed out, they point it out because they want to see better and they want you to know the truth. They don't want you to be in denial. They don't want you to be in deception to yourself. And when we get to the point where you say a person don't really care about you if they don't point it out, that's a very weak, controlling way of doing things. And it's not our way, because I don't believe in censorship. I don't believe in shutting people down. As much as I disagree, if I just disagree that much, I just don't deal with it. But it's not necessarily that it's right or wrong. It's just not how I would do it. And one thing about me, I said, I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm gonna tell the truth, and you're not gonna limit me to that. You're not gonna, and you sure not gonna box me in or label me, because I know with a lot of stuff, most of the stuff when it comes to Colorado, I'm very much supportive and positive according to what I believe. Now, I'm not leaning on what nobody else and whatever going on in their head think about it. But at the same time, it's a time and a place. And you may have a certain way, but it's a time and a place to say that ain't right, that need to be fixed, we need to do something about it. But as long as it's coming from a place of support, and you don't get to define what that is. I know some of the biggest fans, and sometimes it can get a little toxic, sports fans who really hard on their coaches and their players, but they've been there longer than them coaching players. Them coaching players transfer, they go to different teams, and them fans still there. They may be generational fans. They there through the thick and thin. They there when they win, and they there when they're losing. And sometimes people don't always do it the way you feel they should, but that don't make them supportive. And we got to be mindful as with Colorado as we go through. It's going to be a rocky thing. It's going to be intense. And nobody's going to be walking on eggshells. And nobody is going to be defining nobody. We don't have time for that. We got enough of that in the world. And what has it done? Everybody got labels. Everybody got something to say, turn people against other people, and try to be the voice. And at the same time, they more restricted than everybody else who they talking about. And you got to be intelligent enough to know the difference. And that's one thing I am. I see what it is. And we got to be mindful of content creators, whether you are a content creator or whether you are following these content creators. And nobody ain't scared to keep nobody in check. And nobody is not afraid to point out. But we're not trying to be messy or disrespectful. But we're not trying to be contrary to what got us here. What got us here is creativity. What's got us here is difference. But we all are united under, we want to see the best for Colorado and Coach Prime, period. And anything outside of that, that's what you should have a problem with. But who am I? I'm just Greg. Greg said it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. And I'll talk to y'all soon.